Hello everyone, my name is Alex, and today I will review my Carthaginian army in 28mm with you. I've been working on this project for about a year now, and it started pretty much when I started my YouTube channel, and I've been documenting my work periodically over the past year. I usually focus on a single unit in my videos, but today I'm going to review all that I've accomplished and what I think about it. So let's start our journey here with the Carthaginian army. And like I said, this project is in 28mm, and I've primarily used Victrix figures here. They have a great range of miniatures that are appropriate for the Punic Wars, the 3rd to 2nd century BC, and the Mediterranean world, of course. So that's the time period I'm hoping to capture here with these miniatures. I also use some Agima figures, and I'll highlight those as I go. So let's start here with the skirmishers. So you can see here I've got some javelin-armed Punic skirmishers and some slingers right behind them. These are some of the first miniatures that I've made. And I put a lot of effort into these guys. I don't know if you can really see here, but I think they're pretty well painted. I did these guys' eyes. I really like this guy here in the back. I think I did a really good job with that guy too. He's kind of glancing off to the left. The project was young at this point. I was putting in a fair bit of effort and time into each one because I wasn't very experienced. But I'm still basically using the same techniques that I was for these guys, with the possible exception of now I'm kind of using contrast paints a little bit more. So I also gave the Balearic slingers at least sidearms as well. Some nice swords on the side of them. Just try to communicate that these are professionals and they're not beyond getting a little messy and running down and chasing folks down and getting into a scrum. Yeah, they got some nice falcatas there. Next to them are some Numidian archers. Just a small little group of 8 guys here. You'll notice I've experimented with some different basing strategies and colors here. And of course, as I've emphasized here with the channel, I'm primarily building these bases to stand alone and look good standing alone. Them serving as part of an army like this, that's sort of a secondary function. But still, it's nice to have them all together. And I'll plan on doing some gaming with them eventually. Okay, so directly behind the skirmishers are some African spearmen, or Libyan spearmen, as I've dubbed them. So this comes from the Victrix Carthaginian Citizen kit. And you'll see I've got them grouped up pretty closely together. Not quite as well formed, though, as some of the other units you might see. And this was my first really formed unit. So it's got a really special place for me because when I was putting this unit together about a year ago now, I really decided to go for it and to build all of my units with ranks of about three ranks, and pack them in really tightly on a single base. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to communicate the unit not just in their equipment, not just in the painting style, but in their actual positioning on the base. So that is what communicates the unit as well, in a whole nother dimension, which I really enjoy doing. Okay, one more thing before I move on. You'll see in the front here that I've got 2 Greeks, 2 guys in Greek arms and armor. And this is probably my favorite vignette in the whole army still, is that they hired this Greek general to whip these Libyans into shape. They're freshly levied. And this guy brought his shield bearer here with him on the side. So that's one of my favorite vignettes in the whole army still, even though it was one of my first. Okay, so that's one of my first units. Directly next to them is one of the most recent ones. These are the Libyan hoplites, or veteran Libyans perhaps. And this unit here was the most technically challenging of units, I'd say, but also one of the coolest. So when I look at these guys, I think, wow, I wish I had a few more of them. I think they look great. They communicate what I was looking to communicate here with hoplites. Of course, it's better if you have more and more of them, but I do like the way that they all kind of rank up together. I think that's pretty sweet. Okay, yeah, I'd have to say that this unit here was the culmination of my efforts. In the first phase of this work, you know, I'd say maybe it's my magnum opus for phase one. Okay, turning on. So here we have Carthaginian nobles armed as Lancer cavalry. I used the Greek heavy cavalry kit and built them up as Carthaginian nobles, really leaning into the Macedonian influence on the Carthaginian way of war. It's only one of the 2 cavalry units I have in this army, and I think they look pretty good. I tried to make them look very bright and rich colored and opulent and rich looking. So I hope I communicated that. Okay, so all the way on the other side of the flanks, we have my second and final cavalry unit that I've cleared so far. Numidians. I gotta have Numidians in your Carthaginian army of this period. They were extremely important, very well attested to unit. And they were hit and run, skirmisher cavalry. And not too much else to say about them. Tried something different here with the base with a little dried up stream bed in the middle. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Iberians next. So I have 2 Iberian units. I'll rank them up really close together. We've got your more open order light infantry and the heavier shielded infantry here. So I think they're called by later authors the Kaitrati and the Scutari. Not entirely sure about that pronunciation. Yeah, there's a lot of motion in these 2 units. A lot of guys chucking javelins and very special, heavy, dangerous javelins as well. And the guys in the front ranks are just breaking into a run, hoping to shock and catch the enemy unawares. Maybe they're racing after some velites or something. So I do enjoy these units. I think I did a pretty good job here with communicating something kind of unusual and interesting in the motion that this unit is communicating. So, and finally in the back here we have the veterans. So as Hannibal's campaign waged on and on, it seems that the Iberian components and African components in his original army just kind of blended together after years and years of service and became indistinguishable, or at least we're not distinguished anymore by the historical authors. So here we have a formed unit of veterans, and I mean they're really just like heavy male armed Carthaginian infantry, and it's a very colorful unit because of the shields, and it's also very static, but that's okay. They're supposed to be very serious and imposing and ready. All right, so now let's get Celtic. Here I have a small but not to be overlooked Celtic contingent of the army. So I've built these up as Gauls, probably Gauls on this side of the Alps, and called Cisalpine Gauls. And there's a lot of skirmishers here I have in the front. I've got some bow-armed guys and guys with slings and some javelins as well. You know, skirmishers. They're at the battle. They're not really in it though. Here it's all about the warband. So in the middle here, or excuse me, at the back, we have a giant Gallic warband, and this is a great unit. I remember in putting this together that I'd mock it up, I'd look at what I got, and I said, you know what this needs? This just needs more Gauls. And I repeated that a bunch of times, and then finally ended up with about 40 of them on the same base. And it's great. It's a very colorful unit, lots of different tunic colors, almost no armor, well, a fair number of helmets though, a few swords. There's just a lot going on. They're packed in really tight, about as tight as the hoplites actually, from like a frontage standpoint. So their shields really let them get ranked up really nicely. So I really enjoyed making this unit. Also was a lot of work though. Okay, and finally that leads us to the Italians. So I'll show off the new unit first. So these are made from the Samnite kits from Victrix, and just built it very recently. I put a fair amount of effort in them, and I think they came out pretty well. Also very colorful. I used the primary colors on their tunics to mix it up a bit, and gave them kind of a loose order feeling. Guys chucking javelins, and not too much armor, but there's a little bit of armor here and there. And I love that there's a few there's a few guys in the front here challenging the enemy to fight them, as if they're gonna fight in no man's land in the big challenge. And this guy here in the red with the horns is in particular probably shouting some taunts to the Romans or the Carthaginians, whoever he's fighting, and exposing himself to javelin fire in the process. I think that's pretty cool. You know, of course, how well you fight in front of your comrades is extremely important to these warrior societies. So here, next we have the Velites. Pretty standard. Used a variety of Victrix kits here for them, and I kept them rather white in the tunics. Not too much to say about them. This happened, these units are relatively recent. Right behind them are the predominantly Agima figures for the allied Italian contingents of the Roman army. Though I suppose you could just use these as general Italian heavy infantry if you want. And half the unit here is chucking javelins on the right. So there's a lot of dynamism in the Agima kit, and I tried to bring that and make it kind of a unique little, I don't know, vignette, maybe you'd say, in the unit here with these four guys on the right chucking javelins, and the commander with the fancy headdress calling them out to chuck their javelins as the enemy approaches. And finally, in the back, I have the Triarii, or Triarii. And these are the heavy Roman spearmen, well armed and armored, and they really stand out in the whole army, actually. I didn't quite expect this at the time, but I did their helmets gold, and it really makes them stand out, and I kind of like that. They look quite rich and well-to-do, but still very formidable. All spear-armed and ready to fight the enemy if they have to. Okay, so that concludes my review. Let's do one final shot. And here they are, as if they were all part of the same army. So I line them all up, and here they all are together. Stretches about 6 feet. That's a pretty good amount of plastic. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next one.